We have been joined by Mr. Javed Rana. He is an Afghan affairs expert. Sir, are you with us?
I'm there.
So we see that Pakistan has conducted multiple precision strikes in the Kandahar province of Afghanistan and also on their capital, Kabul. So how do you see the Taliban now begging for a ceasefire? A 48-hour ceasefire has been convened. So do you see the Afghan side using it to their advantage to maybe come up with a different strategy to target the Pakistani side? Because we know that India is pumping immense amounts of money into the Afghan economy now to pursue their vested interests.
Well, without going into the controversy who requested first, because Taliban government is also insisting, but that's not an issue. Issue is that there is no match to Pakistan military when it comes to Afghanistan military, or when Afghanistan simply does not have its air force. So obviously Pakistan has got a clear edge over Afghanistan, and Pakistan obviously has caused lot of damages to Afghan military and ground troops, and also these terrorist groups, they have been providing shelter. But the bigger question is that what is going to be its impact? Pakistan has achieved its initial objectives, which are that whatever the hideouts Pakistan knew, it has tried to destroy them. How many of them have been destroyed? How many of those terrorists have been killed? That's altogether a separate debate. But the message has been communicated in a loud and clearly and in a very meaningful manner that Pakistan can no longer put up with this kind of a situation where they continue to shelter terrorist groups, particularly their leadership, who have been operating, providing instructions to the sleeper cells in Pakistan, more particularly in Pakistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, and killing Pakistan military soldiers. That has been a problem. I think that message has been communicated, and since there is now a temporary ceasefire, now we have to look at the bigger picture. Short-term military gains, Pakistan has made. Political gains, yes, Pakistan has made. Now what Pakistan needs to do is to use the clout of Russia, which has diplomatically recognized Taliban's government. Pakistan needs to use the clout of the China, which has a tens of billions of US dollars investment, and more investment they want to intend. They want to use Afghan government to counter American hegemony in this region. Therefore, these two countries are important for Afghanistan. And I think this is the high time that a diplomatic solution is found, because Taliban's government strength is insurgency. And with the insurgent attacks, they can sustain a kind of a calculated unrest in Pakistan, something Pakistan has already been suffering from. And the fear here is India. India, which was militarily beaten up in May this year in a 4 days long war, now they will certainly try to use Afghan government against Pakistan military. They can provide the latest missiles to Afghan government. They can use against Pakistan, and that means there will be bigger war, bigger confrontation. I think this does not bode well for both countries. Pakistan does not need to prolong this war. The message has been communicated to the Afghan government. Now I think Pakistan, as something I earlier on pointed out, this is the high time that a diplomatic solution is found, where to make it sure either the TTP leadership is expelled from Afghanistan, or the Afghan government makes it sure that they do not operate against Pakistan.
Well, also, Mr. Javed, do you think that just expelling the TTP from Afghanistan is a viable solution? Because we know that they operate in other countries as well. So they could, move on to there and regroup over there and come back. We've seen that in the recent history as well, that these specific groups, they seem to be very resilient and very persistent. So do you think that just expelling them from Afghanistan is going to be the solution?
Well, I think what Pakistan needs, we don't want any attacks on our soldiers. That's a simple, straight. And in whatever shape we can achieve this objective, that is more than sufficient. Reason is that there is no any effective mechanism internationally to contain or to bring an end altogether to an armed insurgency. These TTP militant groups, they are indoctrinated, they are brainwashed, where they consider that most of Pakistan's population is not fully Muslim, and the military is not fully Muslim. They challenge the credentials of Pakistan's version of Islam. This is a problematic. They need to be de-radicalized. They need to have some kind of an outlook to the outer world, that the life outside Afghanistan is altogether different. They cannot stay in mountains and keep on dictating their terror cell from where these militant groups are operating. All I'm saying is that in the long run, there has to be a negotiated settlement. And if that means that there has been a template previously which was followed back in 2022, then it was abandoned right in the middle. I think by July 2022, this template was there when Pakistan's military was negotiating with the Taliban government to have a negotiated settlement. And one of the proposals was that in the host province of Afghanistan, that these TTP militant groups, their leadership and others could be settled down, and Pakistan could have paid some money to them. I think that kind of a solution can be found out, but it has to be clearly in return of a guarantees which must be backed by Russia, which must be backed by China, that there would not be any terrorist attack. This is a biggest problem for Pakistan. Then we have to also understand that the Afghan government is trying to stoke some kind of a political unrest in Pakistan. You may have seen their public statement urging Pakistan military not to carry out operations against the TTP. It is an internal political issue for Pakistan, and yes, there are controversial aspects of this crackdown against TTP, but at the same time, it is not the job of Afghan government to intervene Pakistan's internal affairs. This is a problematic area because they want to develop ties with the religious parties and want to create sympathizer in Pakistan. And this is a part of the problem. Biggest part of the problem is in India, and they have a declared policy to use all these militant groups. They have a declared policy to use Afghanistan against Pakistan. The relationship between Pakistan and Afghanistan could be once again very friendly and cordial. There is an artificial kind of situation right now that is there, and that is primarily because of the terrorist groups that some of the Afghan government's factions are supporting. We have to understand that everybody in Afghan government is not supportive of providing shelter to the TTP. Therefore, we should not antagonize the other people who matters in Afghan government.
Well, also, we see that the events of May, the month of May, with the Pakistan and India clashes, we see that the victory of Pakistan really bolstered the position of Pakistan globally. Pakistan is now respected, Pakistan even more respected, and Pakistan has a new position of, it being a regional, emerging to be a regional power. So do you think that these events and the decisive response of the Pakistani side that it is giving to the Afghan Taliban side, is this going to further bolster Pakistan's position in the geopolitical arena?
I think, frankly speaking, Afghan government, Afghan military does not have any match with Pakistan, frankly speaking, because we cannot make a comparison, because Pakistan is a regular military. It has an international status. It has beaten up a 10 times, so-called 10 times bigger military of India a few months back. We should not make a comparison because Afghanistan, there is
if I may add to the context that it is being backed by India, of course. So we want to add to the context here that India is pumping in money and India is giving all the backing to Afghanistan. With that context, will that help, increase Pakistan's geopolitical, standing?
I think India has just started exploiting the situation when it comes to the Afghan government. We have to see a bigger picture. The bigger picture is that India has been sponsoring armed insurgency inside Pakistan's southwestern Balochistan province. That is the biggest problem because they are trying to derail CPAC there. So far as Afghanistan government is concerned, I think their foreign minister was in New Delhi. That was a very provocative for Pakistan. But my understanding is that India has yet to have it's a military footprint inside Afghanistan where it can use Afghan Taliban government effectively. Still, the situation has not reached to a tipping point where India can benefit, or if God forbid, if the situation reaches to the point where Indian military is there, then we can make that kind of analysis. I do not give that kind of importance to the Afghanistan government and Afghanistan's military, because they have fought a war against US-led NATO through insurgency. Essentially, that impact of the insurgency is still there. Now, when it comes to Pakistan military, it has a very strong air force, it has a strong weaponry, missiles. They can obviously demolish the entire Afghanistan army, but that is not that Pakistan can afford to do that. We have to understand at the end of the day, Afghanistan is a Muslim country. Afghanistan, geographically speaking, ethnically speaking, Pakistan's entire Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province has so many similarities. People are deeply connected with each other. Pakistan has a problem with the government in Kabul. Pakistan does not have a problem with the people in Afghanistan. Therefore, our Pakistan's response has to be calculated. They may not care. I'm talking about Afghanistan. They may not care about the consequences that Afghanistan can face because of providing shelter to the terrorist groups. But I think Pakistan is a very seasoned country. It knows the diplomatic means. It has a clout. It has influence in the region and across the world. It has to be seen somebody not fighting with an inferior country militarily. This is not up to the status of Pakistan, that it is fighting with the country which does not have an air force.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Javed Rana. You are an Afghan affairs expert. Thank you so much for your valuable input.
The growing tide of anti-Israel sentiments. What you see behind me is just tip of the iceberg of what is happening in the country. More than half of $52 billion black CIA budget is spent on espionage network in Pakistan. How would you handle it?
The US has looked upon Pakistan as an ally at one point and then as an enemy at the same time.
That is going to be the first legal reason on the basis of which he is going to be instantly ousted by the Supreme Court of Pakistan.
Joining us live, Javed Rana, who's an expert on politics and geostrategic issues.
In the world politics, which is not being driven by any moral principle, it is being driven by the hard geostrategic realities. In a broader picture, more countries would aspire to have nuclear weapons.